We're kicking off today with WWE NXT, as Roxanne Perez wanted to know who she'd be defending her title against at Battleground, and the Prodigy got her answer. As she reflected on her title reign, Perez berated former champions and began taking shots at Ava, which brought out the NXT general manager. Ava then announced that TNA Knockouts World Champion Jordynne Grace will challenge Perez for the gold at NXT Battleground, and the powerhouse came face to face with Perez. Grace then declared her intentions to leave WWE NXT Battleground as a double champion, and there will be no shortage of fans that are hoping to see just that. This isn't Grace's first time appearing for WWE though, as she appeared in this year's Women's Royal Rumble match, but we could soon be seeing much more crossover with NXT and TNA. According to PW Insider, the word backstage at WWE NXT is that after Jordynne Grace's appearance, more crossover is expected, with NXT talent set to appear on TNA TV. It's unclear when or how these appearances will happen, but the report adds that it could be anyone in NXT who appears, and not just Roxanne Perez. Once again, WWE has opened its forbidden door, and has had the wrestling world talking as a result, something that seemed impossible just a handful of years ago. But what did you make of Jordynne Grace appearing for WWE NXT? Are you excited for her match at NXT Battleground against Perez? Let us know in the comments section below. We know that Jordynne Grace will be facing Roxanne Perez at NXT Battleground, but fans won't have to wait until then to see Big Mama Pump in action. In a backstage segment, Stevie Turner appeared alongside Robert Stone and Ava and questioned why Grace was getting a title shot without a single WWE match to her name. Grace then appeared and said that she agrees with Turner, and fans will get to see the TNA Knockouts champion take on Turner next week. Grace wasn't the only notable name to make her NXT debut this week, as during the show, a former AEW talent made his arrival with the gold brand. As we've previously seen, Noam Dar was attacked by an unknown assailant, and on this week's show, Oro Mensah also found himself the victim of an assault. Fellow Metaphor member Jakarta Jackson suspected Trick Williams of being behind the attacks, and this week, Lash Legend confronted the NXT champion. Legend confronted Trick after the main event, where Williams and Javon Evans, with Sexy Red in their corner, defeated Gallus, but Williams once again denied being the attacker. It was then that the lights went out, and when they came back on, he was blindsided by the debuting Ethan Page, mere weeks after the all-ego talent parted ways with AEW. On commentary, Vic Joseph made reference to Page's past company as he asked, wasn't he an AE, but got cut off before he gave the final letter as Page cut his promo. Page revealed himself to be behind the aforementioned attacks and dropped Williams to the mat, hoisting his NXT title in the air to close the show. Taking to Twitter, Page gave his first comment after making his WWE NXT debut and said that, "I guess I whooped that Trick," in reference to the fan chant for Williams. It certainly appears that Ethan Page will be in line to challenge for the NXT Championship, and more has come to light about how his arrival at the gold brand happened. Fightful reports that Page was not seen backstage during the day and did not participate in rehearsals, keeping his appearance a complete surprise for all those involved. Page's deal was finalized over the past week, and he made a secretive visit to the WWE Performance Center, and clearly all the tests came back in his favor. Page is the promoter for Alpha One, though it's unsure what the future holds for that promotion, and WWE sources were said to be immediately pleased with his debut. In fact, Page's arrival went so well that main roster sources also reached out to communicate their excitement about him joining, so we can't count out Ethan Page on Raw or SmackDown. Are you excited to see Ethan Page in WWE NXT? And what do you think is next for him as part of WWE? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments section. It was only recently that Ethan Page's time with AEW came to an end, and now some more notable names have parted ways with the All Elite promotion. According to Bodyslam.net, Jake Hager's contract with AEW has run its course, and there has not been a renewal, and now the Inner Circle alum is a free agent. Hager debuted for AEW on the October 2nd, 2019 edition of Dynamite, which was the premiere episode of the show, but he wouldn't wrestle until Revolution in February 2020. Jake Hager's last match in AEW was a loss to Roderick Strong on the February 23, 2024 episode of AEW Rampage, and the decision for him to leave is believed to be mutual. Hager is gone and he'll soon be joined by Arn Anderson, as during a live edition of his Arn Show podcast, Arn revealed that his AEW contract will expire on May 31st. Arn also made clear that he will be departing AEW when that day comes, and expressed deep gratitude for Tony Khan for helping change the wrestling industry through AEW. Anderson also discussed his future in wrestling, stating that he believes in the talent and ability of his son Brock Anderson, who is no longer with AEW. Arn intends to spend his remaining years helping his son develop into a star in what is a noble quest by the legendary Horseman and WWE Hall of Famer. Anderson had been with AEW since 2019 after 18 years with WWE, and between himself, Hager, and Mark Henry, AEW has certainly lost some notable names in recent days. As previously reported, Becky Lynch's WWE contract is set to expire within a matter of days, and while the two sides are in talks, a deal isn't believed to have been reached at this time. If a deal isn't reached soon, then Lynch will become a free agent come June 1st, but what exactly has been said within WWE about the future of the man? According to PW Torch, Becky Lynch has been telling people that she will not go to AEW imminently, despite speculation online that she would soon be All Elite. Instead, insiders have been told that Lynch is planning to take a hiatus from wrestling, but it is unclear why she is ready to take a break from the ring. It's possible that Lynch simply wants time off to be with her family and away from the demanding schedule, or her break may stem from dissatisfaction with her talks with WWE. Whatever the reason may be, it certainly appears like Lynch will not be signing a new deal in time for the June 1st deadline, but that doesn't mean we've seen the last of her in the ring. A colleague of Lynch's mentioned to PW Torch that while she plans to return to WWE eventually, she currently needs a break, and those in WWE are optimistic she'll return at the right time. If you needed another sign of Lynch's exit, the man is not advertised for any events after June 1st, and her final match is scheduled for the June 1st event in White Plains, New York. With that said, sources have suggested that Lynch's appearance at this show is unlikely, and as always, the card is subject to change. With her husband Seth Rollins being a superstar, Lynch re-signing means she'll be able to travel with her husband on the road, though right now, Rollins is currently on the shelf. For now though, Lynch's body and mind could benefit from some time off, and after her emotional main event on Raw, don't expect to see the man for the foreseeable future. But what do you think of this? Should Lynch eventually return to WWE, or should she seriously consider AEW? Let us know what you think down below. In September 2023, Shelton Benjamin was among those released from WWE as part of the first wave of cuts to the roster since the launch of TKO Group Holdings. Many feel that Benjamin is one of the most underrated stars to ever work in a WWE ring and should have gone much further, but his WWE career may not be over just yet. Speaking with the Daily Star, Benjamin was asked about a potential WWE return and was wholly on board with the idea of a comeback, as he explained, "If they ask me to come back, I would definitely go back. I would be a fool not to. They're the biggest company in the world, you get the most exposure. If you get a chance to go there, I say to anyone, go. Yes, it's going to be frustrating at times, leave your feelings at the door. WWE doesn't care about your feelings, much like any other job." Benjamin further illustrated his point by saying that he sees WWE as a marketing machine instead of a wrestling company, but made clear that he's not actively pursuing a WWE return. A lot has changed since Shelton's release, and it remains to be seen if a return happens, but for now, the gold standard would be more than okay with an offer being made. Do you agree with Shelton's attitude towards a WWE return, or should the former US champion move on from the company? Give your thoughts in the comments section. At AEW Double or Nothing, Adam Copeland retained the TNT Championship in a hard-fought barbed wire steel cage match against Malachi Black. This match saw Copeland hold nothing back and even saw Gangrel emerge to counter the House of Black, but this bout has left the Rated R superstar on the injured list. Taking to social media, Copeland shared that he has suffered a fractured tibia, which is going to require surgery, but he doesn't know when exactly that'll be. Copeland added that he sometimes forgets what his body can do, and that his body pulled the emergency brake at Double or Nothing, but didn't state what this means for the TNT title. In the past, AEW has used interim champions for short-term injuries, and have stripped champions who will be out for longer, which could be the case with Copeland. Recovery from a tibia fracture can take between 4 to 6 months to heal completely, and if it's the latter, it would force Copeland out of action until November of this year. This is a huge blow for Copeland, who will have to miss the upcoming Forbidden Door event, and who will almost certainly miss AEW All In inside Wembley Stadium. Understandably, his injury has hit those in AEW hard, as PW Insider reports that Copeland is considered invaluable backstage and has been a great mentor to the younger stars. Now AEW will have to go ahead without Adam Copeland for the time being, and we'll have to see if the future of the TNT Championship is addressed on tonight's episode of Dynamite. One name who knows all about holding the TNT title is three-time champion Sammy Guevara, who could be looking at adding a fourth title to his collection very soon. On Twitter, Guevara shared a photo of himself with the TNT Championship after Copeland shared his unfortunate news, clearly teasing that he wants to win the gold again. Guevara's suspension from AEW TV has ended, but he's not been brought back to TV yet. But don't be surprised if he's in the TNT Championship picture once he returns. More from AEW now, as it's no secret that 2024 is a huge year for the company, as after 5 years, AEW is currently negotiating a new media broadcast deal with Warner Bros. Discovery. For years, Tony Khan has spoken highly of his partners at WBD and has waxed about how the two sides work well together, but now an offer has been made that Khan isn't a fan of. Matthew Bellany of the entertainment website Puck News reports that while an offer has been made, Khan is disappointed with the figure that WBD are willing to pay for more AEW. Khan is also said to be aware of the leverage AEW has in this situation, as WBD recently lost the NBA rights and would seriously wish to avoid losing pro wrestling as well. Bellany notes that both sides are playing nice with one another for the time being, and WBD has said that they wish to keep all 5 hours of AEW programming going forward. In the interest of balance, we should state that an AEW source has denied that Khan is disappointed in a statement given to F4W Online. While a deal between the two sides hasn't been reached, negotiations remain ongoing between AEW and WBD, and it was said that AEW was negotiating with WBD brass and not TNT Sports. AEW's ratings may have fluctuated as of late and may not be what they once were, but WBD is said to be happy with the numbers they get, as AEW often ranks high on TNT broadcasts. It remains to be seen what kind of deal Tony Khan can get for its 3 TV shows, but for now, a deal has not been reached with Warner Bros. Discovery. In 2021, Tegan Nox was called up to WWE's main roster, and after an underwhelming run, was released that November before being brought back in December 2022. While Nox has a fan base, her time on the main roster has hardly set the world on fire, and now the SmackDown superstar could be making a move back to NXT. Fightful Select reports that NXT officials have recently requested for Nox to be brought back to the Gold brand, and that has been the case prior to the recent WWE draft. Nox made a brief return to NXT in late 2023, where she was thrust into an NXT women's title feud, showing just how different her time is with the Gold brand compared to the main roster. Tegan Nox had been teaming with Natalya, who is now aligned in NXT with Carmen Petrovic, and it may just be a matter of time before the Welsh star makes her return to NXT. Right now, the QR code mystery has fans hooked as they await the return of Uncle Howdy, who is expected to return with a stable including Dexter Lumis, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, and Nikki Cross. Despite being linked to Bray Wyatt, Alexa Bliss's name hasn't been among the list of faction members, but that hasn't stopped fans speculating that she'll be involved. On this week's Raw, a blonde woman appeared in the background of a segment between Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser, which many fans saw as a tease of Bliss's return. On Twitter, Bliss refuted the idea via a GIF, and when somebody shared an image of the mystery woman, the goddess said that, "I wish I was in that good of a shape." WWE has hidden clues in the background before, but that wasn't the case this time with Alexa Bliss, though isn't that exactly what Bliss would be saying to keep her return a surprise? And we're ending today with Bron Breakker, who despite being suspended from Raw, showed up this week to attack Ricochet and Ilya Dragunov. Breakker appeared out of nowhere to attack the pair, which is no easy feat for a man his size, and Bron's ability even took those working at the show off guard. Fightful reports that the production team was very surprised by his speed and had to change angles to accommodate, as Bron is continuing to prove to be a force to be reckoned with.